Okay. Call to order, Select Board meeting of November 7th, 2023. And we will begin by reviewing the minutes of October 17th. Have you guys had a chance to read and review? Any, there's a motion?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, Chilmark preschool update on plans, site location access to septic system, water access. You're up.
Thank you. First of all, thank you for letting us give you an update as we have been planning to do. I know Ann was in touch with Tim late on Friday and we were surprised to see us on the agenda already, so we're gonna do the best that we can with the information that we have. So basically, since you approved the site, behind the playground in August, we've done a couple of things. One has been to choose our architect, and we met with Rob Hanneman early after the April town meeting to ask about energy efficiency, and he invited Mark Rosenbaum to the meeting, and so we had lots of ideas and gave us lots of suggestions, and also recommended one architect, Josh Gothard from Music Street Architects, who's a local person. And so we then felt that we needed to also interview a couple of other architects to do due diligence. So we had a checklist. We all members of the building committee. First of all, Keith Fenner's on our building committee. Alicia Knight is here. She's also on our building committee. We have Judy LaRusso, and we also have Sebastian Hyatt, who's a preschool parent and works at South Mountain. So we've been meeting almost weekly. And basically, when we looked at all the factors, everybody voted for Josh to continue as the architect. So we've been in touch with him, we're working on some plans. And then the other piece was to look at the site. Even though you approved it in August, there were some other suggestions made. I think Tim had some conversations about what did we think about this one or this one. We looked at 5 different places on the campus and came back to the fact that the one that we had originally presented to you was the one to go with, but we felt good about at least looking at 5 of them. So that's where we are now. I know Alicia had said we have just preliminary plans, diagrams from Reed, who's been very responsive to us and very helpful to look. We think there's probably going to be a lot more drafts, as you know, going through a building process, but we really wanted to talk today as much as we could about the septic system. And Keith is here with all of his expertise to let us know what we need to know about that. Is there anything else, Alicia, to add for what?
That sounds great.
Okay.
Architect, yeah.
Okay.
I looked at the plan last week and what you guys got going. I have one question on the plan, but have you had a discussion with Reed about the septic and
Yes.
what it's going to take to join that?
So he, on the plan, he
Mhm.
designed just basically a pipe from the building going out to your septic system, your septic tank. It was designed in 1998 for 120 people. And back then, the loading regulations were less, so now it would be able to take 150. I believe there's 75 at the school right now. And how many for the?
Will be projected to have 36. So if you talk about the kids that are in the school, plus the preschool, plus all the adults there, we're still under the 150.
So you don't need a tank, you just need a pipe.
He just recommended, yeah,
Okay.
he said it's plenty big enough,
Okay.
and, yeah, you could just tie right into it.
Well, that's convenient. So how does the Board of Health feel about it? Do we know? Or have you been to them yet?
We presented it.
You presented it, so, okay, good.
You first.
All right, okay. Great.
So the original
Yeah.
design was that you could have 2 more classrooms, but now the playground and the preschool are in that space, so you probably won't build with 2 new classrooms. That the original
Yeah, the
design
other
called.
classrooms will fill up pretty soon, I'm told. All right, that's great. The only other question I have is setback, yeah. Has there been any progress made on that? Or-
I sent it to the building inspector to get his comments on it.
Okay.
So yeah, it kind of comes down to, I haven't had any time to go and look back to the history of the creation of the lot. And that kind of dictates whether it's 50 or 35 feet. Either way, it appears with the proposed location, you know, we're gonna be going to the ZBA, or the applicant will have to go to the ZBA for setback relief. You know, that's really the only thing I can see right off the bat, whether or not, you know, what it would have had to be, but I think either way, if they pick this location, they're gonna have to get setback relief.
In form of variance?
Yes, they're gonna need a variance from the
Okay.
ZBA.
And the consent is probably not easily gotten, is my guess?
Well, you know, it's up to, you know, the board and to the abutters, you know, Helen Benham being the, you know, the closest adjacent landowner. So, you know, the town would have to, or they would have to ask the abutting landowners if they were okay with that. And the board would ultimately either approve or deny variance.
All right, that sounds like the right process. All right, so I'm assuming it qualifies for variance because of physical characteristics?
I would say so.
Okay. Well, all right, well, do you guys have anything to add? No? Good luck. Good
Thank you.
planning.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I think, one other thing is that the plan that we sent you is preliminary. That was
Yeah,
just
yeah,
done
yeah.
by Reed, and so you know that we're still working with those.
It's still a site plan.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not an
You could-
exact location.
Yeah,
We're
okay.
still sort of shifting it around with the architect to decide
Mhm.
exactly what it's gonna look like, and we'll come back to you when we have
All right, Tim?
more.
You folks should vote to say, yes, you'd like to let them use your capacity for septic so that the Board of Health can move with it.
Can I get a motion on the
So
subject?
moved.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The only other piece is, obviously, we want to come back to you with more information, more detail, and then also go to the special town meeting. Hopefully, we'll know soon, once the free cash is certified and all that other kind of stuff, that we would want a warrant article to approve the design, schematic design and the site, to have the vote, because the vote in April was for the land. So hopefully, we're getting closer, Tim, with the RFP.
Yeah,
for the land
I can't
lease.
issue an RFP until I know
We need
where in the lot and
specifics, yeah,
specific.
for the RFP.
So-
Okay.
The design doesn't
Yeah.
necessarily matter, but the volume and the connections and everything.
Adam, yeah.
Yeah, I just had a question too, and it pertains to, you know, the possibility of referral to the MAC. Is this just for town residents only?
The pre-
Chilmark town residents?
No, it's.
So it would be for multiple towns?
Well, it's for priority for Chilmark and Aquina, up island, and then if there's space, we have a few siblings or staff children that are not Chilmark residents.
Okay.
That was one of my two questions. Does this trigger a referral?
It might,
Yeah.
it might. You know, looking at the DRI checklist here,
Yeah.
the threshold is any development that proposes the creation or expansion of a social, health, recreational, educational facility or other place of assembly or institutional or municipal facility by a governmental or other publicly owned or quasi-publicly owned entity designed primarily to serve the residents of more than one town, excluding facilities with only one incidental use by residents of more than one town, with either a floor area of 3,500 square feet or more, or the capacity to accommodate more than 50 individuals. So I heard you say 35 was probably your max?
For students, and then the staffing that goes with that, and the estimated square footage is 2,200, so we're under the 3,500 square.
So, yeah, it looks like, you know, with that preliminary information, you probably wouldn't need to, based off that language.
Was the school a DRI in the first
You
place?
had
though?
me
It's not.
confused.
It was not,
It was not.
it was not a DRI to begin with, I checked.
All right.
I think
Okay.
you might want to socialize this with the MBC and get their opinion.
Got it, okay.
All right, Tim? Or Adam?
Yeah, I think that, you know, it's worth a conversation,
Yeah.
but my understanding from that is that even if it was to serve more than one town, it would have to be more than 50 individuals.
You might want to check on that.
I'll check.
I have another question.
Okay.
Given that you have to notify abutters, it would probably help to find out sooner rather than later if there's an abutter issue.
Mhm. Right, we're
Before you
planning
go
on
to
that.
the ZBA.
Right, we're planning on that.
Well, again, good luck. Keep moving.
Thank you.
I think we voted on the septic. That's all done? Great.
Thank you.
Thanks for your hard work. Chris Murphy, you have a discussion about your creek lot. What you want to do?
Just sleep quiet. So, you all know the creek lots, the ones that go from the galley out to the Coast Guard building. And I was told when I was allowed to use one many years ago that they were under the direct control of the selectmen. So you don't make changes without checking with the selectmen. So I'm just here tonight. The last time I was here, God, I don't think any of you were on the board then, maybe. I asked for permission to let Scott Stevens share the lot with me. We checked with a lot of other people and nobody else was ready to take it on. Problem was Scott lived in Vineyard Haven, but he was doing what the selectmen wanted, which was basically going fishing out of New Hampshire. It worked. Scott's boat eventually reached its retirement age, and Scott did too. And so now I'm looking for a new plan. And Vinny is here with me tonight, Vinny Iacono. And what I'd like to do is share the dock with him for a couple of years and see how it goes. If he can get his feet under him, then I'll come back to you and we can talk about what really happens. I mean, I don't expect a big decision tonight, just an okay to go ahead and start sharing with them so that there's no surprises. Somebody doesn't come to you and say, hey, what's going on?
Okay. I mean, he's a local guy and he
Yep,
has a commitment to fishing, so that's kind of what it's for.
I agree, but I didn't want to do it without talking to you.
Thank you. Okay.
I have a question. So there's no like wait list for those or anything? It just goes to,
I don't know if this
Yeah.
wait list.
When it
Is
becomes
Well,
available,
but-
we've
yeah.
advertised in the
when
this-
it become, okay.
Right, but this wouldn't be
Right.
coming available so much as me just letting him share the dock and help him out and see how it works. And then if it looks like something that's really gonna work, we'll come back and talk about it.
All right, so
All right.
it's all about encouraging the fishing in New Hampshire,
I
so.
totally
Yeah.
agree.
Could you guys vote to allow that, just so that we have a record?
Do we have a
Do we
motion?
need to- I'll make a motion. Do we need to do that?
We've done it in the past for.
Okay,
So moved.
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Good, thank
Thank
you.
you all. That was quick and easy.
But you can't leave now.
Chris, there is a rule. You have to attend the entire meeting.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. All right, next item is
Thank you, guys.
appointments to Community Preservation Committee. We got a letter from the Housing Committee and from Alice and Cameron Parry for her appointment from the Housing Committee to the Chilmark Preservation Committee, and an at-large member who sent in a letter who I recruited, Adam Sloan, he's here, and we need to vote on them to be added to the committee. So we have a committee of 9, which is what the requirement is for the Chilmark Preservation Committee. So,
Either of them want to address the board.
Adam, you wrote a nice letter. Adam's a new member in town the last 3-4 years, and year-round. He's been
Year
around
round.
for a long time.
Been living here on the island for about 4.5, 5 years now. As Bill said, he did recruit me, but I've been asking him for years how I could start to help within the community, and this came up, and I'd like to be able to add my services and listen and help the community with this particular initiative.
Okay,
Move the
well,
appointments.
move the appointment, second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Right.
Aye, thank you.
Thank you.
See you, we have a meeting on the 28th.
I saw that.
Okay, all right. Next item, Lane Court Ascent, Squibnockus Beach Lot. Tim, you have information on that for us?
So as part of the changing of the property lines and the such down there, there's a piece that's on the waterfront that the ocean has eroded as part of land court, and so it can't be changed unless it's taken out of land court or follows a very complicated, long process that's very expensive. So they're suggesting that you remove it from land court, and this has been going on for 4 years now. We're now reaching the point where you're asked to sign an assent to make that happen.
Just have Ron's blessing, that's all done. We're good?
It came from Ron's office,
Okay.
and there's a typo on it.
There's a big typo on the bottom, because I'm not warrant.
Where's the
Mr.
typo?
Doty's retired.
Oh, yeah, maybe we should get another one.
Well, I need you guys to sign it. We'll just put a line through.
All right.
I'm gonna be a line through person.
Well, if they give us an updated one before they need it, it'll be fine. If they don't, we need it filed.
Well, we're,
I meant
I
to
don't
tell you
think we
that.
want to do this publicly for a line through it, but you can all- whatever, you do what you want tomorrow, that's all done.
Yes.
All right.
Is there a vote in the, this goes to land court?
I think we just signed it, yeah.
Did you have move and second and vote though?
If we need to.
Yes,
Please,
please.
then,
Second,
all those in favor, aye.
aye.
Aye, okay, unanimous, okay.
It's not that
I didn't
big.
hear it, I didn't hear it. Okay.
We've done so much with Scrib Knocker, you know, that's said yesterday.
Yeah, okay, cable temporary license extension for Comcast, this is usually reserved for the end of the meeting, but. we got it on
I'm
here
posting it,
early.
okay, just if you say you vote yes and we're done.
Okay,
Oh, sorry, yes.
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 All right.
think that
Moving
was the
fast,
second.
financial team update. Okay, treasurer has submitted fiscal year 2023 cash reconciliations to the accountant and is working on Q1 fiscal year 24. Accountant attended annual state training Thursday and is working on a closing for fiscal year 23. Is our accountant here to say anything, or
They were
is
here a
this
minute ago,
informational
but
for
It's
us?
informational, but also
Okay,
the treasurer has met with Bartholomew, I think
Mhm.
last week, to
Right.
consolidate all of our accounts and as recommended by the consultant. And they're working with Tri-Town. Tri-Town had a bank account with Santander for its revenues, and it's, Santander's going, it's not going out of business, but it's adopting the EU regulations and is getting rid of a lot of its brick and mortar stores. They want to charge us service fees for all the stuff they've been doing for free in the last 20 years, and they also want to make the vendor a signer on the account, which is not acceptable. So we're looking at transferring the account from Santander to Rockland, who has offered us a good interest rate and free services and free equipment. So that's what I believe will be recommended, or will be implemented in the next month.
What do you mean? That's exciting, cash racks.
yeah, wow, I hope that makes everyone happy.
Well, now,
Certainly good not to think about it.
unfortunately, it's
Yeah.
on Sarah to work
Yeah, yeah.
through the year. and-
Yeah. Thank you. Okay, building department, Adam's here to, with I guess a presentation to propose a permit increase on the fees in different levels. When we hired Adam this summer, part of the understanding was when we went before the finance committee was we wanted to increase fees to pay for a more full-time building inspector, and we wanted to have the building department really pay for itself by the people who are using it. Mainly people taking out permits and things like that. Anyway, he has a tiered approach to the fee structure.
You want to come sit down, Adam, or you want to just?
Yeah, sure, I can come sit down,
All
that's
right.
easier.
You can sit right over here if you want.
Thanks.
Have you guys
Is that a
seen
big
these?
table? My goodness.
Have you seen these documents?
Yeah.
Very extensive. You've seen them too? I sat with him and saw these, did you too? So we,
I did not sit with him, but I noticed.
no, so we all, yeah.
Everyone's
So
had
we-
had a
so-
chance to take a look at
Yeah,
them.
so,
It has been perused,
there's a lot.
digested.
That's what I mean.
Take my hat off with it. So what I'm here today to talk to you about is to make up the deficit, and to charge appropriate fees to pay for the required services in town, okay? These proposed fees, like Tim has educated me about, in the state of Massachusetts, you're not allowed to charge more than what it takes to provide the service. So that's why I've given you so many different options. Last year, The building department cost the town approximately $31,000. Okay? We didn't.
Deficit.
Deficit, it cost the town, so we brought in $48,000, and the entire building department's budget was roughly $80,000. So, you know, we're under $30,000. I have this extensive document that goes back from last year's information, talking about how many hours per inspection, how many different kinds of applications there were, the total cost that the building department, you know, accrued per inspection, per hour. It's extensive. I hope you guys have taken a look at it. At the bottom of this document, it shows the amount of building permits going back to 2014. You can see, you know, the pandemic sent us down a little bit. There was periods of spikes, but over the last 4 years, we've incrementally grown, on average, about 35 additional permits every year. So for this upcoming year, my department's projecting, you know, over 200 permits. So the building department is getting a little more complicated. The level of housing and the kinds of housing are getting more complicated. It takes my department more effort to process these applications, more inspections to ensure the safety in them. So with that information, I brought with me the current building fees that we charge. We are, at this moment, 75 cents per square foot for all new construction and renovations. We have a host of smaller fees for different things that I won't go into. What I'm proposing is this new fee schedule, which at the top, all new construction, I left it blank. My proposal is to switch from 75 cents per square foot to a permit fee that's based off of total building valuation cost. So if you were going to build a 2,000 square foot house, let's see, find this document. Pardon me so much. If you were going to build a 2,000 square foot home right now, on average, a square foot of a new construction or addition, roughly $550 per square foot. I know it's a big number, but that is kind of, you know, the low end of what we're building right now. A 2,000 square foot home would cost $1.1 million, and it gives you a breakdown of different fees. I'm proposing either $4.50 per thousand, $5.50 per thousand, $6.50 per thousand, or $10 per thousand of construction cost. The town of Oak Bluffs does $6.50. They've had that implemented for a number of years. The building department there, where I just recently came from, you know, it seemed to work really well. They worked at a zero balance. It didn't cost the taxpayers in Oak Bluffs any money to have a building commissioner, a local inspector, and a full-time admin. I know these numbers might seem a little big. You know, in a small town, when we want to try to keep people in town, make it easy for people, or easier for people, local people especially, you know, first-time home buyers, first-time home builders, you know, we don't want to make it so people can't afford to build a house based off the permit fee alone. So with this new schedule, I've also proposed a permit fee waiver form. Applicants can apply to the select board to have their permit fee either completely waived or no more than $1,000 in total. You could fall under this application for affordable housing or owner-occupied, year-round full-time residents or first-time homeowners, or just for financial hardship. We want to make sure that there's, you know, we're not pushing people out of the market here. So today, basically, what I was hoping I could get from you is approval to bring to public hearing the new permit fee schedule and the new applied either $4.50, $5.50, $6.50, or $10. My suggestion and my hope is that based on this information, with a projected 5-year plan of the building department's growth, the addition of a town vehicle, online permitting, within the next 5 years, a potential full-time admin, and then the big one is a part-time, short-term rental inspector that we may need to hire that might be required of us. With all of those fees brought together, $6.50 would bring us into an even level, pretty much. We would gain $2,859. So I hope this board would move to approve $6.50 per $1,000 of building costs, or hopefully approve any other of those.
So you're looking for us to approve of you coming before us for hearing?
Yes, so
Okay,
we're hopefully
we
gonna schedule a
advertise and we
public.
get
Exactly.
community input on it. Okay.
I have, so legally, you can't get, you have to stay within a certain, you can't, $10 is out of the range, right now?
Well, yeah, $10 would be out of the range, based off of the metric that I have.
Right.
That is based off of last year's town report. Because we don't know what the permit fees are gonna be this
Right.
year and how many we had.
And,
So, yeah.
and the $6.50 includes a rental, what did you call that fee? Sorry, I forgot, the rental.
So
I mean,
because
that
we have the
person-
short-term rentals and
Right.
we tax them now.
Right,
We, in the very near future, might be required to have annual inspections of every single one of those units.
yeah, I hear that. Can we hire something for something we don't have yet, but we
He's
know
not-
is
he's
coming?
not
I mean,
asking to
can
hire,
we,
he's giving
not
a
hire, not,
projection
sorry, not
of
hire, but can
possible-
we make can we go before the town with a projection that includes something that we don't actually have you have to do yet? Can we do that? I mean, that's all I'm asking, if it's okay.
Well, I mean, he's not proposing that yet in the budget. He's just saying that
Right.
looking forward, he has
Yeah.
expenses. He has
Right.
a town vehicle,
Right,
and
got
additional
that.
staffing over the next 4 years. So it would be a
You know what I'm
question
talking
of
about?
whether,
If we were, I think what she's talking about.
Yes, come on.
Is if we were to agree in the budget process to hire a full-time assistant, if we were to agree to do these other things, vehicle, et cetera, then that cost could be put against a $10, for example, as long as it didn't then put us into making money off of this. But we would have to have the expense level to justify
Right.
that, which we do not yet have.
And we don't know really.
The
is what I'm-
requirement is expected.
Correct.
And
Yes.
I think it's presumed that it's going to be part of everyone's building department, every
Right, so
municipality's building department. So-
I hear that, so
Yeah.
we can project a figure like 650 that includes this thing we probably will have to do, and that's legal is what I'm asking,
I think
because
we would have to demonstrate that it was part of the budget and that we were going to recommend it to the town as part of our expense line.
yeah.
As opposed to, we might do it in a couple of years or something.
Is there a rule against
Making money.
having positive cash flow?
Yeah, there's,
Emerson,
Tim
you know?
shared with me, there's case law, Emerson College versus Boston, 1984. Basically, it, lays out the municipalities can establish fees as long as they're meet the three-prong test. And, they're listed right here. A fee must be charged for a particular service that benefits the party. A fee must be paid by choice. Let's keep in mind that building permits and building a new house is an option. For some people it's a necessity, but it is at its heart a choice. We're not requiring people to pay a building permit fee, but if they decide to apply for a building permit, there's a fee associated with it. And a fee must not be collected to raise revenues per se, but to compensate the governmental entity for its expenses in providing the service. This has been interpreted to mean that a fee cannot exceed the cost to provide the service. So that's why I laid out all of this information for you to see, if we implemented at each different level, what it would end up being. So, just for reference, if we did $5.50, with my metric, you would still be under $35,000. It would cost the town $35,000 to implement those fees.
My question then is, if you're looking for the select board to agree that we can go to an open meeting and a public hearing, what are you recommending that we take to that public hearing?
My recommendation as the building inspector would be $6.50 per $1,000 of building cost. Now that metric includes labor, materials, HVAC, and fire suppression systems.
Does your recommendation also include the waiver that you discussed, where people who are residents, current homeowners, can come to and get exemptions?
Yes, my recommendation does also include a building permit waiver fee.
Okay, I'd move the.
I have one quick question first. Like, how do you determine the square foot value? Like, a lot of these houses, they're like $1,200.
That's a great question.
You know?
Yeah, so, in our current building permit applications, there is a line item for all contractors or applicants that lays out a number of things: plumbing, electrical, HVAC, fire suppression, labor cost, building material cost. My department's been collecting this information in town reports for, going back on this document to 2014. I'm sure that it goes further back, but we have had a good metric on the total building cost in town and what the value is for that. I'm also relying on my own personal expertise and the contractors themselves, and the honesty that we have between the building department and the contractor. And after talking to contractors about this, it is widely expected that this is going to happen, and that a contractor building a $6 million house does not affect their bottom line. If you were to look at any other municipality in the Commonwealth that was even close to what the building costs are on Martha's Vineyard property values, I'm talking Wellesley, Cambridge, Brookline, their fees are $20 per thousand.
Yeah.
So if you were going to build a house there, you're expecting to pay $60,000 for a $6 million house in permit fees alone. These are choices that these people are making to build a $6 million house. And my goal with this document is to have permit fees pay for the necessary service that the town is required to provide, and without taxing town residents to provide that service.
All right, it's logical thinking. So you're pretty confident that you're going to be able to determine the value of these homes based on the experience and honesty of the contractor?
So I spent the last year in Oak Bluffs, like I said, and Oak Bluffs has a $6.50 per $1,000 building permit cost. Same way I've laid this out. And over that last year, there were times where somebody said, I'm gonna build a 3-story, 6-bedroom, full finished basement with, and it's gonna cost me $300,000.
Right.
And my conversation with them went along the line is, well, if it is, you need to give me detailed invoices of all your labor, material costs, breakdowns, per week, per day, require the applicant to prove that.
Oh.
And if that is the case, then hey, more power to you. But based off of my expertise and my knowledge of the building industry on Martha's Vineyard, and the scale of the project and the plans presented, I feel very confident that I can accurately judge the cost of the building.
All right, so do we want to have him come before, have a public hearing based on the $650 a square foot of $1,000 of value? And
As well as
just come
So there's a list of other things he,
present his proposal and,
so this would be the updated permit fee schedule, which also includes some increases to
Right.
services like, solar, siding and windows, pools and tennis courts. For example, a pool costs $250 now. I would be increasing that to $300. So minor increases to non-scaled
Mhm.
permit fees. So, but I would ask that you would approve, in theory, for public hearing, this new updated permit fee schedule, the waiver, and $6.50 per $1,000.
Okay,
So moved.
that's a good motion. Adam, you gonna second that?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, good.
Aye.
So, what, do we have a date we want to do this?
I was advertising for the 28th
Okay,
at 6 o'clock, I think, or 5:45.
okay.
28th
I didn't
this
know-
month.
Of November, yeah. But I think we could do it in December, either way, it doesn't matter.
Is that a regular scheduled select board meeting?
That's when we move.
When would you propose these increases take effect if it gets approved?
As soon as, you know, as soon as we can. There's no, you know, there used to be ebbs and flows to our building season. That is no longer the case. We are consistent year-round. So
Okay.
there's no better time to do it than as soon as we can.
All right,
So we would propose though for, you have to go through the process and advertise and post and then adopt, so it would be January 1st at the earliest, we could, you know, make a cutoff.
we could print some handouts, that'd be,
Sure.
that would be good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, these documents are all online that he made, it's a very good presentation if anybody wants to see it.
I know, but if it's gonna be in person, it's good to
Okay.
print out something for people to see we're here.
Great.
All right, thank you, Adam, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Tim, just for clarification, you're
Good job.
advertising for the permits on the 28th?
Very much.
Okay. And we sent-
There'll be 3 public hearings on the 28th, it's later in the agenda.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, CCC Pollock Jam request to rescind requirement for insurance since alcohol is not being
You closed it.
served. Okay, we were, like, one of us were supposed to call our town council on that one, right? That,
What do you mean?
we just wanted to check to see if that was the right thing to do.
I have no idea what you're talking about right now,
We're-
sorry.
Sorry, I know. We're talking about whether, so is it true, and the town council, that if you serve alcohol, you need insurance, but if you don't serve alcohol, the insurance policy does nothing, because it's only if you serve it.
Our insurance company
Yep.
likes to see a policy for for liability, especially if they serve alcohol, because we have no alcohol coverage in our insurance. So if anything
So
happens.
it's only if they serve alcohol.
Right, if there's alcohol there,
If there's
we
alcohol
don't
present.
have alcohol insurance, we don't have any coverage under our policy for, if you have.
If it's just there, okay, so it's not being served, so it's unnecessary is what,
Well,
or you can't even get a policy.
I don't know if you can get a policy for liquor liability if you don't have a.
Right.
Because liquor liability usually requires a temporary policy from an insurance company, and sometimes they ask for a bartender that's been certified from, I don't know how they certify them, but
We don't have any,
liquor.
we don't serve liquor in town, okay.
That's why I have no knowledge.
the concern that
Yeah.
was raised, that started this whole thing, had to do with minors consuming alcohol on town property at the potluck gym. That was the concern, and then the discussion morphed into the issue of town liability in the town building. But the initial concern was minors consuming alcohol on town property at the potluck gym.
Ellen, you have your hand up?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I came tonight on behalf of Alex, who's run these potluck jams for a long time, and I think a lot of people came in support of that. And I know he hasn't been here at a meeting to discuss it personally, so maybe to even back up so that we all understand what the issues are, because in the past, I think it was as simple as Alex making contact with Warren to tell the dates, and then, great, go for it. And then all Alex has seen is, great write-ups in the paper on how successful these are, and what a wonderful thing they are for the community. So I think he was just a little surprised when the word back to him was, no, you're not gonna be able to do it if you don't get an insurance policy and no alcohol. Like, he didn't really understand what some of the issues were, so hopefully.
I think it's a
we just-
general insurance carriers requesting something for use at the Chilmark Community Center.
And I-
That's what's prompting this, right, Tim?
No, it was discussion at this table for.
Right.
That there was alcohol around, and therefore you felt comfortable asking for alcohol coverage, but I don't even know if you can get it.
Okay.
Yeah, there's nobody at this table that is against the potluck jam whatsoever.
Yeah, I think nobody's
Even
ever,
there are people at this table that have warbled at the potluck jam.
sure.
The issue, the concern is minors on town land consuming alcohol. That's the concern.
And I guess with this being the 60th potluck jam and never having heard of that ever being an issue in the past, it was a little bit of a surprise to think that Alex would be pursuing an insurance policy and kind of, I understand when it's a private event going on there, folks are asked to get an insurance policy, but it's sort of a community event, and I wonder what changed to, impose these conditions.
We were just looking at fees associated with the community center. Yeah.
I just wondered if the police chief has known any issues at these things.
I did a very cursory kind of check and talked to all my guys, and we have not had any issues. That's not to say that teenagers could be drinking out of Yeti cups and we would have no idea. But we haven't had any car accidents, any fights, anything like that I can recall.
The point is, does the town have any liability issues? Okay, that's the point for us. If all of us like to see people enjoy themselves and be able to sing and dance. Tristan, is that you?
Yeah, I hope I'm allowed to speak. I'm an interloper from
I
Tisdale.
know. I was surprised to see you there. I thought I was seeing things.
So I'm trying to stay out of a lot of the, I had my day in the sun. I haven't been here in many years, so it's
Right.
great to see everybody. I just want, I understand what you're wrestling with. I've been a selectman. I work with the Spring Building and their issues. But I just want to say this, I've gone since the beginning to these potluck jams, and, Alex really does everything he can to just, make sure it's cleaned up, that it's immaculate, and I haven't, are there some people congregating on the steps or whatever? I've never seen anything unruly here. It's one of the last free island community events. I mean, I know this is not the Crunch. The Crunch got killed because of insurance. Now, we know that's totally obvious why, darn. But yeah, darn, I agree. But nonetheless, this is such a cool event. So whatever you can do, I understand you got to wrestle with the issues you got to wrestle with. But if we can just leave this be, I mean, if it's not a problem, it's so wonderful. And like you say, some of you have warbled there, and there aren't a lot of venues for local musicians like this. So I urge you, please make it viable, keep it viable.
I just want to say that what I think is that we either have to have the same for everybody or not, So if there are potluck events allowed in town, we have to either say, no, you can't have a potluck event, there's no alcohol at the community center unless you're serving alcohol and you buy insurance, or, there is BYOB.
I guess we just said no serving alcohol at these events.
But they're not serving.
Can't legally.
They're not
Can't legally
serving.
do that.
They're not-
I agree. I heard you.
Yeah.
I heard you.
So,
Al, you have a hand up again.
And I do recall we had talked about this with Jonathan when he was the chief and had asked about this particular issue. And he had said if alcohol's not being served, and it's just potluck where people are bringing their own thing, it's not the same consideration for insurance. But, I would imagine that could be easily clarified.
I'd entertain a motion unless you have another point, Jim.
No, my only point is this. I love the potluck jam. I don't think there's anybody sitting, certainly on this side of the table, and I'm sure not on that side of the table, that doesn't like the potluck jam. For all the reasons Tristan said and for everything Ellen said. My only concern is I have seen, and I suspect I'm not the only one, that's seen alcohol being consumed by people who aren't of legal drinking age, which then raises the issue that I have to address and address at this board of what's the town's potential liability should someone get in a car accident, should someone get hurt, or something of that nature. And you can't, being a town official, I can't just say, okay, I didn't see it. I've seen it. Now, if there's a way that
We were supposed to
the
get-
Alex or the organizers can tell people that they can't consume alcohol or something like
My
that.
question-
I'm okay with that, but
Yeah.
I can't, as a select person,
We,
I can't as a select person just say, turn a blind eye to something that has gone on. And I'm glad we haven't had any accidents or issues. We have had plenty at the community center.
How much does it cost for a group to
That's right.
purchase this? Do we know?
It doesn't, my understanding, Bill, is that you can't really purchase it, because what we're purchasing, what we require them to purchase now
If you
is if you
can't
serve
purchase-
alcohol.
If you can't purchase it, how can we
Right.
require it?
Yeah, I think that's-
Yeah,
Is
yeah,
what I'm saying, yes.
right. Ellen?
I guess I was hoping I think it's been on the agenda numerous times, and could it be as simple as calling an insurance company and understanding what needs to be in place? You know, I don't think anybody's serving alcohol, people are bringing their own. So I think Alex is saying, I can't go get an insurance policy and monitor people's drinking, I'm out, you know, so I can't do it. And so what could happen, like he's kind of asking for some support from the town for this wonderful event that he has, you know, got going. Can you help me out here? Could we call the insurance company and get the real word instead of just worrying
I
about
thought we were gonna
something
do that the
someone
last
else saying?
time.
I thought we did.
The insurance
And it's-
company's been clear, we have no liability insurance for any alcohol on the premises.
Okay,
So,
For
So-
serving alcohol on
no,
the
for
premises?
alcohol on the premises.
So
If
we-
you
we
have a bottle of
can't-
wine here in the town hall for
Yeah.
a retirement of somebody from a committee, that's not covered by any insurance. So if they go outside and trip and fall or drive over somebody on the way out the door, we would have no insurance. We'd just be naked for coverage.
But I guess what they're kind of asking is, can you get insurance policies for the venue if they're not actually serving? Just to.
Yes,
to
I have no
blanket
idea.
coverage. That I read.
Because our insurance company doesn't do that.
I can answer
I can answer that question. We did a one-day event at the Spring Building in Tisbury. I mean, theoretically, you can go online to an insurance company and you fill out a form and you get insurance for the one-day event. It's, you know, for someone like Alex, or I won't speak for Alex, you know, he's trying to do this for the community. I think I paid $150 to do something at the Spring Building. But I just wanted to add to Jim, that, you know, we're aware of your concerns, people who go there. And if we had signs maybe put up, you know, there's no alcohol, you know, this is a non-alcohol event, there's no drinking on the premises. I mean, you know, I don't want to be, what's the word, smarmy or whatever. I mean, I could leave, you know, I could be a kid coming here to this meeting and, you know, walk out the door and have a pop and then get in my car. I mean, you know, on this grounds. So, I mean, that's true in any public grounds, you know, that concern, and it's good you raise it, I get it. But it's a non-alcoholic event, and maybe if we're aware of that, especially with this conversation, if we could put some signs up, I mean, I'll help make the damn signs, no alcohol drinking on the premises. And I think that it hasn't been a problem, as you heard from the police chief. If it is a problem, then, you know, we'll be back here.
I think everyone supports these events, okay? And there has been no pushback on it since I've been a select board member, okay? So I do think like someone has to stand up and be accountable if something happens, and we're having someone say, well, you know, if I gotta do this and this, I'm out. I mean, what does that tell me, Ellen?
Well,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think that Alex does so much, and he's
Right.
just one person, and so what does he do? Get his own policy? He's not, you know.
I don't think we can get a policy, that's, I don't think we can require it at this point, from the way I understand it. But I do think someone has to sort of say, I'm responsible for the
And I-
things that happen at these events, and certainly the organizer would be the logical person, right?
Well, I'd be
Yeah.
happy, I think we all would be, to, like I say, you know, try to raise no alcohol on the premises
Yeah.
awareness. We can make some signs, we'll let Alex know.
Right.
and, you know, we'll police ourselves. You
Adam,
know,
you got a
we all
point.
help clean up at the end of the night, put away chairs, make sure, because we're aware, we don't want to abuse the privilege of using, you know, the town of Chilmark's facilities. So I
Okay.
think we can, you know, do that. And, you know, can also, I don't mind if you got some abuse to throw, you can throw it my way too. I'll be glad to take it.
Adam had his hand up, then Jessica had her hand up.
So just my understanding is that if the town held an event, or somebody held an event at the community center, and somebody got injured, just like, you know, a Zumba class or something.
Right.
Insurance is covering that, correct?
Yeah.
Not 100%. They're supposed to sign a waiver to use the facility.
So that's my
But it
second
doesn't-
suggestion.
It doesn't stand up terribly well, but that's the requirement, is there's supposed to be a waiver signed.
So what would be the benefit or downfall from having attendees sign a waiver for this event, stating that they're acknowledging that they're not drinking alcohol, so that the town is no longer at risk? I mean, that's really what we're talking about here is the town. If somebody wants to go off and drink on their own,
Right.
and they've been,
But it's a-
they're
it's a-
acknowledging that it's just not a town-sanctioned alcoholic event. The
Right.
town is not saying, we're not supplying it. Somebody goes off in the bushes or goes beyond the community center and sips, you know, I can have alcohol in here, which I do not, but what's the difference?
Oh, what do you do for the backyard, the barbecue?
Backyard bash, I don't know, people drink at that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, they do.
Really? I've never seen alcohol.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean,
I was just
very,
thinking an
The
example.
daylight hours, I'm not there after dark.
very,
You know, it sounds like it's overly complicated.
yeah.
Jim, I'm ready to just
Do what?
let them go have their events and, I think, I like Adam's idea of signing a waiver, you know?
I think that for, my view on the waiver,
Yeah.
yes, legally, that's probably a good thing, but you can't waive away liability like that. And in any event, that puts a burden of administrivia
Right.
on this community singing event. It's a musical night of enjoyment for a lot of people. And I'd hate to burden it with it. All I'm worried about is the town, and this is what this all came up with. We've seen underage people drinking. That's a problem for the town if something happens and it hasn't. And if there's a way of the organizers and attendees keeping an eye on this and notifying people that, you can't do this, I think you're gonna have a very hard time with people sneaking out in the bushes to grab a beer or whatever it was, whatever your example was, dealing with that. But it is an awareness thing. If you can raise the awareness and have people keep an eye on stuff.
I definitely think that's possible.
I'm sorry?
I definitely think that's possible to raise the awareness and have people, trying to make sure that underage people are not drinking. I personally have never seen underage people.
I haven't either.
I think sometimes it's hard to tell how old people are. But I mean, I've never seen a group of high schoolers.
Mostly high school kids don't go.
Exactly.
It's much older crowd.
Yeah.
I mean, I've never seen underage people drinking there.
I have.
All right, so.
Doesn't mean that,
Yeah.
one has or hasn't.
Okay.
You want to make a motion?
Before we go on, we're a private event, we already require insurance for private events. This is just because it's a public event that it's
Right.
confusing, because we had people fall off a ladder at a private event and the insurance addressed that,
It's a
not.
free community event.
Right, so a free
Okay.
community event, having a
Okay.
policy.
Okay. Yes, sir, your hand's up there, hi.
Hello there.
Hi.
I'm not a Chilmark resident at the moment, but I've been a Chilmark resident for 50 years or so. And I've also performed at probably 40 or more of these potluck jams. You've witnessed underage drinking. Who else in the room has witnessed underage drinking? Who else in the room has witnessed underage drinking? Okay, so I haven't witnessed underage drinking, but I know that teenagers, a good percentage of them would like to drink, and they're going to find an opportunity to drink if they can. And I feel like the, quote, adult of age population can police this situation, and that it can be decimated or communicated through the community that underage drinking is threatening this event, and that people keep their eyes on everyone, and underage drinking could be stopped in public. I mean, somebody might be in the bushes, you can't police the bushes, but you can police underage drinking, I think, by letting people know that this is a problem.
All right, thank
And
you.
that this is
I'm
threatening.
ready to move on and just make a decision.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm happy to move on, and with the understanding that the people who are involved recognize the town's concerns, and we'll deal with it.
So is there a motion to waive the
We don't even,
insurance requirement on the
we
potluck
don't have to
jam?
waive it, there is no insurance
There
requirement
is
right now,
none.
because they're not serving alcohol.
I'm just reading from the.
Sorry.
From the.
Well, you had voted
Agenda, yeah.
to ask for it last time. so-
Yeah, yeah.
So then you'd be rescinding that
Okay.
action.
I make a motion that we allow the Chilmark Community Jam to proceed as it has in the past, with an understanding that the town does not want underage drinkers drinking.
I second that
All
motion.
those in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay. Have fun.
Yeah.
Thank you. You all
Same
got
thing.
my vote at the
Now have
next,
to-
Oh, great, thanks, Kristen.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you.
All right, where are we?
The Harbor Advisory Committee?
Harbor Advisory, new traffic study, possible referral to planning, master plan, and MVC.
So Jeffrey had a memo in your packet, and he's here.
Yeah?
Don't hide in the corner,
This is best luck.
by the door.
Yes. The committee just felt that it would be helpful to do a traffic study to figure out exactly what the real problem is down there, rather than just move forward and make changes to the visual character of Menemsha without really knowing what the problem is. So I just wasn't sure when the last time there was a traffic study, or if there's been one done recently.
I think we've done one when we,
MVC did.
MVC. Yeah, we had a turnaround by the restrooms, and a bunch of people were very upset about it, and,
I think it was
and the-
18, right?
And we want to pave Paradise and put up a parking lot.
Right.
You didn't actually have a traffic study, but you did have a traffic engineer that was hired by the MVC come through and make recommendations to address the concerns that the master plan committee and the select board had.
I think we'll find out there's probably too many cars in New Hampshire from that
Right.
study, right?
Sorry.
At sunset.
Yeah, Ryan?
I think that one of the driving factors behind conducting a traffic study has to do with the amount of tour vans that we have down in Menemsha during the summer months.
The what vans?
Vans.
Tour vans?
That we
Okay.
have in Menemsha during the summer months, and one of the questions was raised at the Harbor Advisory Committee meeting as to whether the last traffic engineering assessment or traffic study, whichever it was for the bus turnaround was done, if we already had the rule in place not to allow tour buses during the height of the season, and had already allowed or given the issuance of tour vans. Because that's the biggest driving factor for wanting this traffic study, is to figure out whether or not Menemsha is a sustainable enough area to allow traffic vans during the busy season.
Okay, we used to allow the buses, and we stopped then we allowed the.
They made the vans.
the
But I
limousine,
thought we
for
stopped the
vans.
buses
Yeah,
seasonally,
right.
I believe. But we couldn't stop the vans legally, as I understood it.
But it's sort of,
It's a little different.
it's kind of confusing, and I guess the Harbor Advisory Committee, at least myself, may be just seeking clarity on a few different things. One of those things being, when we gave the rules to the tour van companies before the 2022 season, I believe, we made it not possible for them to go straight at the intersection of North Road and Basin Road. So if we can implement that kind of restriction on a tour van company, where does our jurisdiction end on that? Can we tell them that they can't make a right onto Basin Road? Or where does the legality come into it? What can we restrict and what can we not restrict?
So it's a little there's a state license involved and there's a town license involved, the street license. The buses, the big buses were told they can't come to New Hampshire July and August for my childhood, all the way through today. Because the police could only enforce it because they cross over the center line and they S-turn. Other than that, there was no way to really force them not to come in. But there was an agreement and they didn't, for the most part. Now those buses are fallen by the wayside because they've died, basically, and now they're all these small buses. The Board of Selectmen chose to grant street licenses to go into Menemsha, but not to go on Boathouse Road. So the board granted to these people that have these street licenses to operate those tour vans in Chilmark, and in particular, they allowed North Road and Basin Road. So once that's granted, there's no mechanism to take it away. And when we've asked the state, I think Jim was involved with talking to the Department of Public Utilities, which regulates and licenses the tour vans. There's not a clear way to regulate them further. But the suggestion with legal counsel was to pass out the piece of paper that said, you're not allowed to park here, you're not allowed to park there, and you can't go down North Road towards the galley, because they were sneaking all the way down to the Boathouse Road and stuff. So that's more of an agreement than an enforcement, and so there is no clear, bright line to your question.
However,
Debbie, you have
just a quick, since you've invoked my name,
I was going to say Warren.
Additional information was in discussion with the town council office. We learned that there is a way to regulate these, and it requires a town bylaw. It requires public hearing, and it requires the support of the Mass Department. Is it Department of Public Works?
I think it's public
Yeah.
utilities.
Yeah, requires their support. And in discussion with them that our council had, they said, given traffic in the summer in Martha's Vineyard, they would be inclined to support a town restriction on this kind of thing. But it would be a multi-year process. That's as far as I got with that.
And if you did the study, you might be able to go start the process.
Okay, Debbie, you're anxious to say something over there?
No, well, only because I talked to a few people, and it's my understanding that part of the reason that we were discussing in the Harbor Advisory Committee about the traffic study, if we have a traffic study done, I realized there was one done years ago. This isn't years ago, as we all know, it's only getting worse. And if it is a multi-year process, so be it. But why not do the traffic study and start working on it, because it isn't going to get any better. And, you know, if the license was given, one would seem there must be some way to take it away, which it seems there
I
is.
think we need NBC help on this. I'm sure they'd love to help us. We can invite them, that would make them feel better for not inviting them for our buildings. Yeah, that was my fault.
They didn't see him, no?
So we can, we'll talk to our representatives and ask them to.
Well, Tim, would you?
Call Turner.
Tim, would you contact the NBC?
So when I spoke to the Mrs. Larson, the planning board and the master plan initiated that contact with the Martha's Vineyard Commission last time.
Right.
And they were running with the whole concept. I didn't know if you wanted to talk to them again before we went directly to the MVC. That's why I think it says
Talk to them before we talk.
the master plan subcommittee that was charged with doing Menemsha last time around. I was told to put them in the middle of it, and so I just want to make sure I want clear directions of which way to turn.
So we got to worry about her feelings again, Jeffrey.
I think part of the feeling was that if at some point the shuttle bus does run more frequently, that maybe the tour buses, vans, could drop their passengers off at the town lot, and then they could get on the shuttle and go down to Menemsha and still do the things in Menemsha. The idea behind a lot of it was, it seems that Ryan's traffic officers spend a great deal of time dealing with these tour vans. And if that time became freed up a little bit, then maybe they'd give them more time to address some of the other problems with traffic down there, like the speeding on the corners and things like that. So that's kind of some of the thinking.
Can we just ask the planning board to...
Can I make a suggestion? Let's try and do it with one meeting with multiple attendees so that this thing doesn't stretch out into 2029. So have the planning board, and they can send whoever they want, to a meeting with the select board and the MVC, invite the MVC. Here's what our concerns are. How do we get a study done? How do we deal with this as effectively and efficiently as possible in terms of time? I just don't want this to turn into a multi-year project. I mean, there were a number of things that came up, sorry if I may.
Yeah, no.
There are a number of things that came up. We were talking about speed tables, speed bumps, crosswalks, all sorts of things. Traffic calming, I think, is the term that's in vogue. I have other terms, but that's what we want to look at. What do we do about that? Because there are going to continue to be more people coming down there for 2 months of the year, just about sunset, or 2 hours before, and it's like holding back the tide. But what do we do to do it best, so effectively and efficiently?
Can we do December 5th?
Yeah,
Fine.
You
I
guys
won't
are,
be here, probably don't care.
Debbie, yeah. You ever-
or we could do the 19th instead of the 5th. Right, we be back the 19th?
I'll be back the 19th.
Yeah, time is of the essence on this.
We have
You can
Peter
do it
here
without
from
me,
the
too.
planning board. He'd love to talk about that.
And so the issues on the agenda, both of the planning board and the subcommittee that's working on the master plan.
Okay.
And we've had some input from Dan Doyle about all the possible things from temporary speed bumps to just beautiful painted stuff all along, or rumble strips, or all kinds of things. So it's in the conversation, and like everything else that has to do with just about every issue, time is of course of the essence, so we're on it.
So maybe if, they meet, we can do it on the 19th when Debbie's back and they've had some conversation with the
The
MVC
19th of what?
of December.
I will not be here.
Oh.
But the world will go on without me, and
Well,
you
the
people
vote on
will
whatever
not
we
be
do
here.
on December
Me too.
5th, I just want you, I don't want you to think I don't care.
The 20th sounds good. Everyone's going to be excited to attend the meeting 5 days before Christmas.
The
I've
19th.
seen this one before. All right, so I'm all in favor of just helping out with that any way we can. We're not going to be the ones to do the study. We're just going to direct people that are going to help us, pretty much, and that'd be the planning board and NEC. So.
Yeah, I just think it's not gonna get, I think a lot of us think it's not gonna get any better, and it's not gonna get any easier to stop it, so why
So
not see
what
what we
if
can do?
somebody
Yeah.
from the Harbor Advisory Committee spoke to council about a possible bylaw as a placeholder for the town meeting discussion leading up? So at the
It
end
was
of-
Peter Goldsmith. Why don't I just go back to him and have him send us what he prepared a
Okay.
year and a half ago?
So we could have that as a placeholder and a discussion thing in December so that we have it ready for,
Check. So that's for me to do, to call Goldsmith on that.
so are we on for the 5th, the 19th?
Which,
5th, the 19th?
I don't
Time
care.
is of the
Either
essence,
one.
I am not.
So the
just-
Let's
fifth.
say the 5th. Let's say
Thank
the
you.
5th. That's away, 3 weeks away anyway.
God, already,
And this is
wow.
a joint meeting of the planning board, select board, and the MVC representatives.
Hopefully.
Chief Slavin, what are those things called that you put down across the road that puncture tires?
I thought of that
Mm.
too. Spike strip, that's what we need.
We already went through a tire problem with the beach already once, okay?
All right, so you're going to organize this, Jim?
I will call them.
Okay, all right, great. We're definitely interested in helping you guys out.
Thank you.
Thank you. Municipal Security Camera Ad Hoc Committee, possible report.
I don't really have a report other than that we have approved everything. We're waiting for the fiber optics to actually get to the dock. And then we're gonna wrap things up. There was discussion at our last meeting that we would like to be kept on as a board in case anything comes up in the future. But Marie let me know that Timmy said that's not possible. The
Well,
committee
until the project is over.
disappears.
But you guys are all serving, except for Steve Loomberg. Everybody's on another committee from it, I'm sure, or the finance committee or something, so you're not going anywhere. And we've had some other committees.
That would be a fairly big, well-publicized proposal, I think.
I didn't.
You would certainly know, because your ear's to the ground. In Manevsha, if anyone's here is.
She's the starting point for this now.
Yeah.
Well, I think the thinking to keep the committee open was so that if a couple of years down the road, Ryan decides that the 3 cameras that are being installed aren't quite enough, and they would need to cover more area.
Right.
And the idea was to figure out as a group where to put them and how to put them, and just so that
So
we
we
didn't
weren't
run
starting all over
into
again.
a big
I
problem.
think he knows better than to just put them up, right?
These are annual appointments, and what
Right.
this Board of Selectmen can't obligate a future Board of Selectmen.
Yeah.
So the ad hoc committees are appointed a year at a time, so
Right.
when there's no need for it, you don't appoint them, and then when you need them again, you put them together, but, anyway.
Apparently just answered my question. I was
Okay.
asking if there wouldn't be any reason that you couldn't appoint a
Yeah.
committee again.
And even the same people too, but it'd be up to the 3 people that were currently select board members to do it.
Okay, our Mass Housing Partnership Complete Neighborhoods Grant. We have a point of contact for the town of Chilmark for every
They have-
mission and Mass MHP. Is that Mass Housing Partnership? All right,
Yes, that
Peter, you
is-
here for that? Okay, grant priorities and goals for the town of Chilmark. You're up again, sir. You want to report on that, or you just here to?
No, what this is on, I
No.
simply was gonna be the second, the auxiliary contact for this. It's all just so there was somebody in case.
Okay.
I'm working with
Laura Silver?
Laura Silver, and anyway, so
Okay.
I'm available as a contact.
So the request was from Laura Silber for you folks to appoint a person to speak for you going forward. And she asks that it be Jim Finer with a backup of Peter. So it's not them volunteering, except he just did. It's Laura Silber trying to say.
I think Jim was initially asked, and he's taken a position away for the winter, so he can't be here. But Peter doesn't like to travel as much as Jim does.
I hate getting out there. I love being here, Raleigh. It's cozy.
So this
Okay.
is to speak on your behalf with those 2
All right.
organizations, just so it's clear. It's not just a liaison, this is to speak on your behalf.
We're acknowledging Peter
And Peter is-
for this role. I'm happy to have him speak on our behalf. You
Me too.
comfortable with it? And
Mhm.
Jim?
Yep, yep.
All right, thank you very much, Peter. Appreciate it.
It was sort of like a vote and a nomination.
You're becoming like the biggest volunteer in town, so you know.
Be careful.
Up on council
Yeah.
on aging too. Mhm.
Thanks, Ryan.
Mhm.
Thanks, John.
I was gonna table the Tri-Town discussion so that Marie could meet with Tri-Town and
Okay,
have a
yeah.
conversation.
Yeah, you need to talk with your
Tomorrow.
colleagues on that one.
Yeah, talk with Tim.
And I can help out with other select board members in Quinn if you need help with it.
Okay,
I
thank
don't
you.
think you will, but if you do, I've already had contact with someone that come to a meeting of the minds on that.
Oh, good.
Okay?
Yep.
So there's been a request from Selectman Rossi to have a joint meeting with the CPC at the 28th. That's scheduled now for 5:45 PM on the 28th. And so if
Yeah.
this board is good with that, we'll be advertising that in the paper tomorrow.
We're supposed to have a public hearing, an input from the community as to how community members like to see the money being spent or where it's put for CPC funds that come in annually.
This is at 5:30?
Yeah, I think it was 5:30.
That's our tax.
I'm gonna put it at 5:45. We have a 5:15 tax classification
That's 5:15, thank you.
for the tax classification. And then we're also going to have the public hearing at 5:25 for the building inspector's fees.
All
So
right,
it'll be
and then
the
what time?
classification, starts at 5, and
5.
then we have 3 public hearings, and then we go to the regular meeting afterward.
I think you said 6
That's,
o'clock for the.
you think we have enough time for each one?
I'm not planning to put much else on the agenda. The only
Okay.
other thing is.
You promise?
Well, I'm
Yeah, okay, all right.
I've drafted the agenda, and it has 2 other items, but I forget
Yeah.
the small ones.
All right, these, I think these should be
Classification, compensation.
pretty fast, each one, you
It's
know?
next on the agenda.
Okay.
All
So,
right,
so you guys are okay with those 3 hearings, and we're gonna
Sure.
advertise them. The other was the pay classification study with Collins, came back with a proposed contract. They're adjusted their scope of service to address most of our, I think it's 40 some odd positions. They do need, it's 30,000 instead of 25, and I'm asking for you folks to vote to authorize me to sign the contract and to use the extra 5,000 from the selectmen's other purchase services and the Department 190.
You never want to tell us, or me anyway, how much money we have left in that.
We haven't spent any of it yet.
Okay, all right, thank you.
He's very careful.
Warren tried to spend it at every meeting.
Yeah.
Warren tried to use it for everything.
How much is it, by the way,
come over.
to begin with?
What's the budget, Tim, you're proposing it come from?
I'm not-
The selectmen's maintenance, other purchase services.
Oh, yeah, so I move that we allow Tim to sign this contract and get on with the, like,
And,
with Collins Center for the, what?
So it's talking about doing 50 titles. We think we can shave that down a little bit, but they said 15,000 up front, or after step 3, and 15,000 at completion of the work. And there's a working group working with them at additional $125 hourly cost. And she did put in something here about if we do more than 5 changes, 5 additional, there'll be a discussion of how it costs more. But
Okay, so I move that we make a motion to allow Tim to sign the contract to Collins Center for the classification and compensation review for the town.
and fund it with the.
Aye.
Oh, yeah, and fund it with the extra with the selectmen's.
Aye.
Aye.
All those in favor, aye.
What is that fund
Dilly,
called?
did you want to say anything on it?
Selectmen's maintenance.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
I didn't know we had.
And then I didn't know if we had scheduling questions. I got information back from Jim and Bill, but I just wanted to nail down the schedule for the list here. Jim, do you want to change the April meeting, April 16th, to a different date? That's 1 week before town meeting, and you won't be here. We
Well,
could
hang on
move
a
it.
second, now that you're gonna make me go to my calendar. 24, right?
Thank you.
So April of 24. Except that has my.
Annual town.
Give me that. So I just note from the different things I have here that,
Right, I'm gone that week.
right, so we either have a select board meeting, it's the week before the,
On the 9th?
Or the 9th, because we have to do it within 10 days, so, of
Right.
the election or the override vote, if we're having an override. So it either has to happen without Jim, and we have to post it well in advance, or it has to happen, I think, on the 12th, which is a Friday.
Thursday, yeah, Friday, yeah.
I would rather not do it on Friday as well, thank you.
Thank you, Jim.
Would you mind if you missed that one, because
I
of
would
the
not
override
mind- I would
hearings
not
and
mind, I
stuff?
have confidence in my associates here.
Okay,
So we're keeping the 16th?
keep it 16th. And then the 16th of January, Bill had said he was going to be away. That's the day after Martin Luther King, and the day before we start.
I can probably make those finance committee meetings, 17, 18, if they're at 5 o'clock. I need,
Well, before we get to the FinCom ones, because
Well,
there's some more
close.
moving parts, we're trying to get the select board meeting nailed down first, because
yeah,
then we will build around everything
Okay.
on that. So the 16th is the Tuesday, I think you're away. Are you, and so I just want to know.
I'll have my computer with me if we can do, if you're gonna do remote capabilities with the finance committee, I can make those 2 remotely, but I'm busy until like before 5 o'clock, that's why I
Right,
can't
so
do 4.
can we do the 16th be entirely a remote meeting for everyone?
Fine.
Yes? Good.
That's January 16th.
January 16th, remote.
Zoom.
Beautiful, Zoom.
Do we have a January 16 meeting? It looks like it's 17, 18.
Well, but your meeting
That would be
is the 2nd and the 16th, the Board of Selectmen.
Oh,
And then moving to the blue ones on the colored one, if you have the color chart. We started the Finance Committee on the 17th and 18th. And then the 19th, 20th is the Mass Municipal Conference, and then the 23rd, 24th, 25th, 30th, 31st, 1st of February, 7, 8, 9. I just was stopped by Susan after our meeting at 4:45 this evening, and wanting to suggest that we have the finance committee meetings not last into February where they are, and have them on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and maybe Friday of the 2 weeks. And I said I thought that we started on the week of Martin Luther King, which we do, so Monday wouldn't be possible. But the question to you folks would be, would you want to start on the 22nd of January and do all nights of the week and try and just condense it down to 2 weeks of hell, or would you like to spread it over 4 weeks of not quite hell?
I would prefer that, actually. That would be
If we're
better
gonna
for
go
me.
to hell, let's
Yeah,
just
yeah,
go to hell,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So we've asked the rest of the FinCom members about the 22nd and the 29th and shortening up the
So
thing.
wait a minute, you talking Monday through Friday or just Monday through Thursday?
I've always tried to avoid Fridays because nobody shows up, but she was suggesting we do the
No.
whole week.
She suggested Monday through Thursday.
Good, because I want Monday through
So it's
Thursday.
not what I heard when I walked past your desk around the corner with her,
Oh.
so I
You
have
can
to
just
check
ask
with her.
her.
So, but you would prefer to work, so Monday through Thursday for Marie, Monday through,
I have no conflict if it's condensed like that,
okay.
okay? So, and I'm not gonna be around for March. So,
So, Jim, do you care if it's Monday through Thursday or?
I'm just ambiguous, I mean, I'm ambivalent.
That then sounds better. So I'll shoot for Monday through Thursday with Susan tomorrow.
And starting January.
I have to figure it out because we
Okay.
have to back things around and change things.
The last thing I have, because I didn't tell you before, because I didn't know, but wait,
Go
is
ahead.
the 2nd of April, that meeting?
April
Because
2.
usually when I
April
go
2.
to Ireland, if it's for Easter, and Easter is the 31st.
Of March?
Yes,
Wow.
good for
Early.
you. That's a fun trip.
So do you want to, when,
I mean, it,
or Jim's?
I don't know what that, how that
That
meeting's
one's
gonna
not,
be.
that one's not critical to the
Right.
warrant because it's already set.
That's what I'm
There's no
asking.
override hearings and stuff, so if you folks want to move that one around, you
Or
can.
if,
Or
do
you
it without me, it's fine.
Yeah,
I don't-
I'm
so
back on
never-
the 22nd, yeah, I'm just like.
So
What is the open question at the moment?
do anything, do we change the 2nd or just leave it? And
Leave it, because I don't even have the firm plans, you know what I mean?
Okay.
And so
You
I
might
think
be
it'd
away.
be fine if I'm,
All right.
Great. And then that brings us down to your, Bill's request to do remote participation for January, March. January we've dealt with, but now March, can we do the March 5th and 19th as remote meetings?
I have no problem with it.
That'd be the only way I'm attending.
Remote participation for March.
That's fine.
Okay.
I'd say the same.
Jim,
It's
can
like-
we-
Yeah.
can we do
The
hybrid?
time change is gonna mess that up.
Hybrid is fairly difficult and we really don't have a way to make it work to what we're supposed to do. But we could have another person try and be the Zoom ringmaster. It's a problem is he's not here, he needs to be visible to the public and to you guys, and we're on one side of the television set, or the other side of the television set.
I think the new EMS building has a whole different setup that makes it a lot easier.
Still have only one television though, so the board members can't see, it has to be a two-way thing, so I just need two televisions back to
Why
back,
can't that
basically.
one go over there?
It works for part of it, but it doesn't work for the, if I had another one facing you guys thing, I could do it,
All right.
but it's a,
I'm,
if I get another television for Debbie.
having attended far too many of these hybrid things
Uh-huh.
in my short life that's been lengthened by these hybrid things. I don't need to see the people who are addressing the board. I need to hear them. I need to be able to speak to them. I don't have to look at them.
Well, that's what the law says. So that's what I was trying to comply with what the statute says. If you say to do it another way, I don't care.
Do the best we can. And I would prefer that those of us who are in town could meet personally and Billy be remote.
I have no need to see anybody.
You don't want to see him.
It's the seeing here.
I don't think I wanna see him.
The body
Be jealous. Exactly, yes.
But the chairperson not being able to see
Nudge,
people
for heaven's sake.
lends to.
I can shift the chair to Jim or Marie, I don't care. For a couple weeks, it's not gonna bother me. I've been chair for a year and a half already.
Let's, Tim,
Yeah.
I would like Tim to look at doing a hybrid meeting for these dates and talk to us at the next meeting about why we can't do it
No, we can do it, it's just I know it doesn't comply with state law that we kind of sort of have a waiver on, so I don't think we're gonna be legally in a problem, but when we have the hybrid, the regular meetings, we tell everyone that's a board member, they must have their camera on and they must be unmuted because they're the board. And so everybody has to be able to see them and talk to them. So Bill will be on camera, so we'll just have the.
Correct.
You won't see Bill, they can see Bill.
Fine.
Okay.
I've seen enough of them over the past 8 years.
Right back at you.
And we can raise a hand and all.
Yeah.
And there we are. So then the other one is,
Okay.
that Bill is talking about the FinCom meetings themselves. They're scheduled from 4 to 5:30. Now, if we do them in 2 straight weeks, or it's gonna be more than
It's
2.
fine.
But
Yeah,
4:30 is okay?
Yeah.
4 PM.
yeah.
Still
I'm
okay?
gonna be here.
Great.
Yeah,
So we're good with,
I'm not gonna have any issues at all. with-
Billy, will you please make sure to get, when this is all nailed down, give me a calendar.
yeah.
So I can put it in.
As soon as I get one.
Yeah, no, I
Mr. Carroll.
when it's all nailed down.
Yeah.
Do that.
The next item was the O+, as Ed said, they would like to know if you're interested in participating in a
Yeah.
special legislation
It's fun reading.
Mhm.
Yeah.
for a senior discount or senior, like circuit breaker for taxes. The one the state has doesn't work for anyone on the island, and the special legislation that you were given a copy of is based on the state circuit breaker, which doesn't work for our values either. So if you have an interest, we can participate and say yes, or just wait and see what happens. I mean,
Wait and see what happens.
at some point, there's gonna be people living here that can't afford the taxes, but, or those that are here now.
That's a statewide.
This is a local initiative though, because the statewide one won't work for the island. And I
Because we-
can't explain it why, but
Right.
it's basically our values and our,
Okay.
and our
Hi.
compensate,
Mm.
you know, you're, like the equalized assessed values and all the other numbers that never help us. I mean, it doesn't hurt to say that we're interested, but I don't really know where we're gonna go with it.
We should look at it. I mean,
I think we should look
some
at it.
people would appreciate that. All right, I think we're all done. Oh, stakeholders, excuse me. I mean, I'm sure,
Well, there was just in your packet, a follow-up. We had the Dilly's notes, plus there was notes from the harbor master, and there's notes from people that
Mhm.
attended or didn't attend.
Yeah.
So that, just so you had them and they were memorialized.
Okay.
on the thing. I don't know if Ryan wants to address his, or,
I honestly don't even remember which notes I provided. I
Mm.
think I had some suggestions from a seasonal employee that I provided, but I'm pretty sure that was it.
Mhm.
okay.
We need that railing fixed.
Move to adjourn.
Sorry.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everyone.
And may I